Hey YouTube, Mark Kaufman here, and today I just really want to show you what has come in the mail really quickly and what is up next. So I have been mentioning in a few of my videos that I'm going to have a few knives come in for a few projects, and a few of these are actually those projects. So I'm going to do a really quick video here of what has come in the mail and what I plan to do with them. So really quick, one of these I have actually already done a video on, and it is this Victorinox Standard. It is not a Spartan. The Spartan dictates itself with the tweezers and toothpick, like this one here. This is a Spartan. This is a Standard. So the Standard has no toothpick or tweezers. This one here is probably like late 70s, maybe even early 80s. I have already cleaned this one up. I have been carrying it. But one of the things I did with it was that I refined and polished the interior of the corkscrew. So it had the machined corkscrew, and I believe they stopped doing that in 1990. So that is one that I had come in. So that's a Victorinox Standard. I had another Victorinox Standard come in, and this is one that was kind of beat up. I picked this one up for $7. I mean, how can you say no? I did already polish the scales. It has a company logo on the back here. I have installed a micro screwdriver in the back here. This one's probably early 1990s, so it's not too old. You do have the 90-degree stop here, and I believe they introduced that in 95 or early 90s, and it does not have the machine corkscrew. So this one here is one I've been carrying, and it has no toothpick or tweezers, and even better, it has no keyring. For some reason, I just like them without the keyring. So there are those two. Next one up that I recently picked up, and I will be selling this one. It's already on my eBay, but I just picked it up because I wanted to do a two-for video in the future here. But it is a Victorinox Secretary in black Alox. This is a very unique setup here for a secretary. You don't see it very often in black, but it has somebody's name on it and Caterpillar construction company or tractor company on the back there. But this thing is, I would probably even say brand new. It was probably used maybe once or twice, and it's very, very sharp. But I am going to be selling it. I just wanted to get it so I could do a two-for video of the Wenger Patriot that I have. So that is another, and it came with its slip as well. So that's another one I picked up. What's another one? So I recently picked up a Victorinox Prince, and this one here has the older nail file here. I have already cleaned this one, polished it and everything, and it's already on my eBay. But I really wanted to compare the nail files of all of the 74 millimeter knives. So this completes my collection and my ability to review all of those and their configurations. So this is pretty interesting indeed. What makes it even more interesting is that it is a Victorinox Victoria knife. So this is probably pre-75. It is probably from the late 70s, maybe even the early late 60s. And being the Prince, it has a small pen blade and then a large blade. So pick that one up. It has some company logo. I have not looked into that. Next one, these three are the projects, okay? So these here are going to be the projects that are coming up in the future. The first one is going to be this Tinker Small. This is one that I have been hunting for a while now because this is the Tinker that MacGyver uses in the very first episode of MacGyver. This is a Tinker Small, and this is probably from the late 70s, maybe even the early 80s, because it has its aluminum tipped tweezers here. Now, these three I've already cleaned with soap and water, but I have not polished the scales or anything like that or oiled them. So if they're kind of gunky or have soap in them, I am sorry. So this one here is a Tinker Small, no key ring, which is fantastic. I probably will not be carrying this one. It is just going to be for my private collection. But this one here has the can key Phillips. The can key Phillips is essentially a slot in the Phillips head so you can open can keyed cans. So they stopped doing that in the late 80s. Probably even 1990s when they changed over to the round one. So this is the flat, the squared head Phillips. We have no sewing eye there. And then you have the divot in the back there on the reamer. Then you've got the blade. This one has not been abused or broken in or anything like that, just gently used. Then we've got a no 90-degree stop here, so it's pre-1985. I believe that's when they started doing that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But no 90-degree. All of the blades on this thing are intact, and then the can opener is intact. You wouldn't believe how much I got that for. I will tell you, since I'm probably not going to be selling it, I picked that up in a bid on eBay for $7. So that was definitely a grail find. But these two here are actually my grail finds. One, I am still debating if I'm going to sell it after I clean it all up. But this one I probably will. This is a Victorinox Standard, and this is from the late 1960s. I'm going to zoom in here a little more. We have a nickel silver shield, and this is going to be a candidate for how to polish your Victorinox scales. I feel like this is a very good candidate for that. We have a very interesting view here. You can kind of see how Victorinox produced these scales because you can still kind of see the machining marks. And where is my pointer here? You can still kind of see the machining marks or the press marks here in the scale. So this one here is very, very nice. It's not perfect, but it will be after I am done with it. But you can see here Victorinox Switzerland Stainless Rostfrei. Then on the back, Victoria Officer Swiss. We have a crack here in the scale, which these things do get cracks over time, but you can't help that sometimes. So I'm probably going to inject some super glue into that or try to remedy that, but that is a thing on there. So on the back end of this older Victorinox, we have the 5-turn corkscrew. And one of the things I was trying to do with this one is clean up the grooves in the corkscrew, but boy, on the older ones, you don't really need to do any of that. The corkscrews are really, really finely made, very well made. Then we have the reamer. Excuse the hair there. And then you see that notch there. This one here also has the clip blade. I haven't oiled this, I'm sorry. A little tough to get everything out, but we have the clip blade over here. Now the can opener, we don't have the patent number or the patent insignia, so that's going to definitely date it to the late 60s or early 70s. So there's that, and then we don't have the wire stripper in the cap lifter. So there's that one. Now, the piece de resistance, the one that I probably am not going to sell, but boy, if somebody gives me the right price, sure, I will sell it. But this here, I couldn't believe I found this, and I talked to the seller and was able to strike a deal for it. I cannot believe I found this, and originally I thought that this was going to be a Victorinox Standard Alox. However, it is 84 millimeters. So it is a tourist. Excuse me, I'm going to cough really quick. So sorry about that. So this is a tourist, a Victorinox tourist, and it has a stamping on it. This stamping is from a company that does basically waterworks or water purification and water disposal. And I found that to be interesting. So this was probably a knife given to somebody by a company. But I just want you to see how perfect this blade is. You can see that kind of like stone washed finish. You can see the Alox stamping. But look how clean that is. All I've done to this is soap and water, and this still has the original edge on it. Original edge, very sharp edge. A little unfortunate about that being there, but I don't think it's a deal breaker. Over here we have the cap lifter, and you can see how it was machined. It was machined very differently than how they do it now. You can see those edges there and the satin finish there and the straight lines and how it was finished and everything. It was very interesting, but you can see that it has the wire stripper blade in there. Very interesting. And then you have the wire bender there. Then over here we have sorry about that. We have the patent number and some original oil stuck in there. But this is the can opener, and you can just see how the machining marks were done on that. I'm really, really happy about this. Then the small pen blade or clip blade, and I just want you to see how perfect this blade is. I mean, the finish on that is very unique. It's polished, but it's almost got like a feather stone wash to it, like a very light stone wash. I really hope that is coming out on here. And this edge here is perfect. It's almost like somebody got this, used it a couple times and never used it. I was going to save it for the review of this, but I just wanted to show you guys how sharp this is. That is how sharp that is, and that has never been sharpened. Like, I still cannot believe it. So there's that, and then we also have the 5-turn corkscrew, and it looks fantastic. Really is beautiful. Now this is what was really surprising, and I may have to do a redo on the reamer video, or at least compare some of these older ones to the modern ones, because I have sold a lot of those knives. But look at this punch. Look at how that was finished. And look at the bevel on the edge there. And then you've got this secondary bevel on the tip. Like this thing is really sharp, really sharp. And then look how it is. Let me see here. The edge on this side here is so sharp that it flakes off of my fingernail. It is really interesting to see how they manufactured these back in the day. You can see here you've got the blade edge there, and then that bevel in there. It is really interesting to see how they manufactured these. And then you can also see kind of the stamp or the mold that these came out of, and how they were not completely perfect when they came out, but they still stamped them out. You can kind of see the lip there. This one is kind of lifting up there, but you can see how this was kind of molded and then pressed out of a mold. It really is amazing. So this is one that I am very happy to have. I will be making a video on how to restore this as well. I probably will throw it in with this one, but they both have nickel silver shields. This one's a little older. This one's probably late 60s, but what's amazing is it still has its original keyring. So cool. So cool. So that is the recent pickups. I know this was a long one. I'm sorry about that, but man, I had a lot to talk about and a lot to admire. This one is something I thought I'd never have, and the same can be said for this one. So thank you guys for sitting through this one. I know it's a long one. I'll talk to you guys later in the next one. Bye-bye.